And welcome to Speed Feed. Oh man, I tell you, Mambia, today has been that day. Sorry about we are so late on today's stream, but we cannot go without talking about what is happening. And this is where we talk about the latest in news and trending topics. My name is Kimani Mbogwa, in case you didn't know that already, and we're doing this live. So do get interactive as we talk about some of the news and stories that are happening today. We'll talk about just a few of them, and I just want to go an update here that is happened in just the last few minutes. Education CS George Magoha has said that primary and secondary school students should prepare to go back to school next month. That is on Monday, May 10th. So in case you're wondering when kids are going to resume school, yes, the date has been set to May 10th according to Education CS George Magoha. Just that's before we go on with the speed feed today. That's just an update for you. And you can get this and more news at Kenyans.co.ke. We're going to talk about the latest, including the biggest story today, what everybody is talking about, including the number one trending topic right now on Twitter is Justice Chitembwe, who has been the first person to be interviewed by the JSC to replace former Chief Justice David Maraga as the new Chief Justice. And it's been quite controversial. There's a video that's trending about him in the interview talking about the reduction of the age of consent. He seemed to be a bit on the line with that one, and that has caused an uproar on social media. People talking about it. That's something we're going to talk about. But speaking of such, though, on the speed feed today, we cannot not talk about former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko. He's not searching for a new job. He seems to be comfortable in life after politics. Now, he posted this video of himself at mjengo, working with other people, and he captioned it, "Life after politics is stress-free." Now, you can see him there loading sand in a wheelbarrow, yeah? And maybe this is the best video to describe the phrase, "We move regardless." He has moved on with his life, despite the many court cases that are facing him right now and everything that has happened, him losing his seat as governor of Nairobi, and despite everything that's happening, he's just moving on regardless at mjengo, yeah? And, we definitely expected this from Sonko. I've been telling you much more about the update from the search for a new Chief Justice. And we'll see some other candidates who will be interviewed for the top job at the judiciary. That includes Senior Counsel Fred Ngatia and other candidates as well who are set to be interviewed more. That's a story that's happening. In fact, it's the biggest right now. It's what a lot of people are talking about. You probably saw that stream on our Facebook page. But moving on the speed feed though, Kenya has been left out by Uganda. I'm sorry, guys. So there was a deal to construct an oil pipeline from the Kenyan coast, that's from Lamu to Uganda. But Uganda has decided to ditch us and go for Tanzania because they have decided to build their oil pipeline through Tanzania. And we are going to lose out on the 400 billion shillings deal, which was signed by Tanzania's President Samia Suluhu, who was on her first official visit as president to Uganda. So the Ugandan government, they said that they won't pass the pipeline through Kenya because they said that the project might be delayed because of land settlement issues. You know how Kenyans get. And they have also cited that the project will be delayed because Kenyans will hike land prices in the areas where the projects will be built. And Kenyans are notorious for that. Once they hear a government project is passing through an area, the land prices in that area skyrocket. And they said, we ain't gonna pass it through Kenya. So Tanzania has had the 400 million deal. Anyway, as Sonko did, we move regardless. Amani aje. Anyway, in other news, this is for all Muslims who are Muslim faithful here in Kenya. So, in case you didn't know this and you're Muslim, you probably already knew this. But in case you're not Muslim, Ramadan is scheduled to start tomorrow. And Muslims who are tasked with the planning of prayer schedules have issued regulations to all Muslims to ensure that COVID protocols are adhered to. And right now in the country, we are in two countries, but one country at the same time. It's either you're in the counties where curfew begins at 10 p.m. or you're in the counties where the curfew begins at 8 p.m. Yeah, and I know most of you are going home right now because the rush hour starts very early at around this time at 5. So they have directed that in counties where curfew begins at 10 p.m., the imams there have been advised to complete prayers by 9:30 to allow people to get home on time. And in the other counties where curfew begins at 8 p.m., Muslims have been advised to hold their prayers at home. And this is an important thing that I thought you should know. Did you know that in February, the government issued a directive to have duty-free importation of dates during Ramadan? Did you know that? Now you know. Now, here's another brief update for you for all Nairobians. So, you probably have seen a lot of construction going on within the CBD and within Nairobi, projects being done by NMS. And you thought they were faster? So, if you thought NMS and General Mohammed Badi were delivering the projects, government projects faster, the Nairobi MCAs are not satisfied because they have cited that NMS is not delivering projects on time, and so they have been put on notice. So MCAs are saying that despite them issuing a priority list for projects, some of them are yet to begin despite allocation of all the necessary equipment. And now the MCAs in Nairobi want NMS and General Mohammed Badi to speed up delivery. So in case you were seeing those hospitals and those cabros in your area, yeah, the MCAs are saying that ain't enough. They need to do more. Now, on to other news that happened over the weekend, and this is quite a bizarre one. So, there's a man who is suspected of slitting his son's throat and killing him. Now, he was arrested at JKIA trying to board a Qatar flight. Now, according to DCI, this man confronted his son. So his son was jobless, and at one time, he questioned him about what he brought home after a day being jobless. And so the son asked him, "What did you also bring home?" And it said that the father got really angry and slit his son's throat, killing him. And police have been searching for him since last year, and they managed to arrest him on Saturday. Quite a sad story. But this next one is funny and tragic at the same time. So there was a dowry a dowry ceremony in Tana River, which was left in shambles because the mother of the bride ran away with the bride price of 170,000 shillings before the ceremony was over. So she is said to have feared that her in-laws would shortchange her of her daughter's dowry price since her husband had died, and now she was left to raise the children alone. So the elders were expecting to find money in a bag, but instead they found just makaratasi inside a bag. The mother of the bride had already fled off with the money. Right. And we are live, guys. I want to remind you, what do you think about that story? I found it to be quite interesting. We're live on Facebook, so shall I read your comments? Because we're live, so many things are happening, including you need to know that in case your child is at home, they are needed back in school by May 10th. That's Monday, the 10th of May. That's when the kids will be going back to school. And other things that are happening that you need to know right now, the search for CJ. Yeah, there's a moment where Justice Chitembwe even broke down to tears, you know. All of that, you can find all of those updates on our website. Let me give you some of the stories that are new right now on Kenyans.co.ke so that you can go check them out. The story behind Samido's expulsion from NYS. So apparently, Samido was in NYS and he was expelled from the NYS. Yeah, that story is on Kenyans.co.ke right now. And also, there's another story about 3 robbers who were caught on CCTV stealing in the CBD. They were killed in the shootout. And there's also an ex-bank manager who's going to pay about 1 billion shillings, actually 727 million shillings for stealing treasury bonds. Yeah, those are some of the stories that are on Kenyans.co.ke right now. And because we're live, shall I check your comments? Let's see what's happening. Some of you who are joining us on our live broadcast here on Facebook, usinyamaze tafadhali, let us know something, yeah? Talk to us on the comment section because we are live talking about the latest news and trending things that are happening right now. Let me check out your comments. Just gonna open that in a few. Give me 1 second, so we can open that before we talk about those ARVs that have been finally released to patients. But let's continue. Talk about this next story though. I'll be reading your comments. Kenyans living with HIV have finally started receiving the ARVs after months of shortage, and this was triggered by the consignment of ARVs that was held at the port. We highlighted this last week. The government says that now patients can start receiving regular supplies of the ARVs at this particular moment. And on to other stories that you can find that are trending right now. There's Chris Kirubi's son-in-law who reigns in power corridors. That story is available on Kenyans.co.ke. And more news, and this one I have to repeat, this one is because of all of you who have children, or in case you're in school and you're watching and you've been wondering when are you going to go back to school. So Professor George Magoha, the CS for Education, has said that children will be expected back to school by May 10th. That's next month. And I've also told you about that story about Samido, so go and read it. And there's also another story about an old man who was fighting off gunmen in Nairobi. Yeah, that's happening right now. Anyway, as I wind up today's episode of Speed Feed, so we were a bit late. Apologies, we started a bit late. But let's check some of the comments on Justice Chitembe's trending right now, and a lot of people are talking about him. He was the first candidate to be interviewed to replace former Chief Justice David Maraga. And here, before we continue, some of the other candidates who will be interviewed to be the next CJ. Let me get them for you right now. They will include Senior Counsel. Fred Ngatia is going to be one of them. Philip Murgor is also going to be there. And that's just among the people who are going to be interviewed. But let me check some of the comments from his particular comments on, the relaxation of the age of consent for sex. A lot of people are saying, someone here, Melanin Afrique, someone on Twitter says, I'm beyond flabbergasted, discombobulated, actually flummoxed. And it's crazy to me how he is genuinely deeply concerned for the adult perpetrator, and at no point does he show concern for the 14-year-old. And someone else says this is quite pragmatic. In the course of hearing and determining matters both before the judicial officers must take cognizance of each case's unique circumstances. The provision of minimum or maximum sentences should not have to curtail, but ought to provide guidelines. That's concerning the issue of the age of consent and cases to do with sexual assault. And that's not all. There's also a point where he broke down, and we have details of that story. There's also a video available on Kenyans.co.ke that you can check out right now on our website. Anyway, other things that are trending right now, George Magoha is trending because of what I just told you about him announcing that children will be expected back to school, and that's on May 10th. Someone else, Chris A. Barambamba, is trending on Twitter. People have just decided to go at him for it. You guys know Chris Mbarambamba. I don't know if I get his name right, but people are talking about him. And get on Twitter right now and see some of the funny things that are coming on that trend right now. Those are some of the things that are happening. And thank you so much for watching this episode of Speed Feed. Sorry, we were a bit short today and we're a bit late, but apologies for that. Tomorrow we'll be back at the same time at 2 p.m. and we'll be live talking about all the latest news and trending stories that you need to know. My name is Kimani Bogo. I want to wish you a happy, good evening. Please rush out and go home because curfew is coming soon and you do not want to be on the wrong side of the law. And also, happy Ramadan to all the Muslims in Kenya. Goodbye. See you tomorrow.